This week, my guest is Nick Lisberg. He's tearing up the LA comedy scene. I've met him at some open mics we used to do together. I've seen him play at shows. I have learned a ton from him. I'm super excited to have him on this week. Nick, welcome to the Colin O'Reilly Show.
Thank you for having me, sir. Thank you.
And,
I
and I should
appreciate
have
you.
asked you this before I said all that. Can you hear me okay? Do I
Yeah,
sound far away?
I can hear you. You sound good. Can you hear me? Because I talk
Yeah,
kind of.
totally. Yeah, you sound
Okay,
perfect. Yeah.
okay, okay.
I'm sitting in an easy chair. I probably shouldn't say that. I normally like sit at like a desk and whatever, but I was like, I'm gonna try an easy chair today. It's Sunday, so
It seems comfortable, sir. I'm sitting on the edge of a bed, about to have a noon beer, afternoon beer.
nice.
You know, I'm from Louisiana though, so like day drinking is okay for sporting events, Mardi Gras, holidays, weekends, shit like that. So it's cool.
Yeah, I've never been out there. I've always wanted to, and they say, yeah, Mardi Gras or in New Orleans, you can walk around, yeah, with beers and stuff.
Oh, you can buy a big ass beer. That's what it's called. It's on a sign. You'll pass it'll be like a beer of your choice, but you'll pass guys with signs that say big ass beer, and
Oh
they'll have
wow.
different variations of big ass beer, but it'll be like a 60 ounce beer in a cup, and you can just walk around and drink it. It's hot as fuck. I don't understand how people do that, but they're inexpensive and you get fucked up real quick.
Yeah,
So
that's
I,
cool.
I tell you, go to daiquiri though.
I've always wanted to go to New Orleans. When I was a kid, I read Anne Rice novels. There was like they wrote whenever that Interview with the Vampire movie came out.
Yeah.
I like read the book and read a couple after, and they all like take place in New Orleans, and they make it seem really cool.
Yes, yes, yes. It's a spooky little place. That vampires and also people don't realize pirates.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, pirate. That was a pirate hangout as well. And then you got to think about the voodoo people. So you just had a whole bunch of spooky
Yeah.
characters in one area.
I'm
So
fascinated with voodoo. I think voodoo's so cool.
it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's yeah. If I was a millionaire, I would study it. Yeah, I love the why I started the show, the paranormal. And yeah, voodoo's awesome.
So you believe in voodoo? Like, do you
Yes.
uh okay, I don't know. I'm not sure how old you are. I know you're old, like maybe 65, 70, but uh,
Only 68.
my first my first like real experience with
Yeah.
seeing like voodoo that I can remember in my head, like I'm sure before there was other things, but that got me was Child's Play. You know,
Yeah.
the doll and the transferring of the soul into something that kind of fucked with me, and then that's
Yeah.
not true. That's
I
not
was
true.
like 12, 14 when that came out, I think. But I
Yeah,
remember that, yeah, being the whole, I forgot about that. That was like the whole way in. I had these old time life books my grandma got me. They came out like the early 80s, I think. And each
yeah.
one would be like on a different paranormal thing. It'd be like dragons or whatever. And one was on voodoo, and I read it like 1,000 times. And I was just fascinated by it. Because I was always like, the first thing I would do if I was president is, I'm sure they have done it, is do you ever see that movie Flatliners?
With Kevin Bacon? No.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Where
would
they were
like
putting
die and
yeah.
study it. I'm sure the government has done that forever. Um, and I would just read all those files. I'm sure it's so fascinating. And that's kind of like what voodoo is. I mean, it's sort of like they're exploring the other side, like it's so cool. I went to
Weekend.
Catholic school growing up. It was so boring. It was like the opposite of voodoo.
Yeah, but you got the religion, and you got the freedom to do bad things and repent, and to just
Yeah. Just
yeah.
organize. It's like an organization for child molesters, I think. It's just kind of,
Child molestation is on its way to
yeah.
being that that sir. All right. That's what I was about to ask you. I was gonna say what's off limits because in my head I've been having this thought
Yeah.
for the past 3 days.
I was I was a, I was a very attractive child. I only had one priest call me at home when I was in like, because I went to Catholic school from like kindergarten on. And when I was in like fourth or fifth grade, this guy, Father Mel. He was like a new priest showed up and he like called me at home. I was like, "Do you want to go to the movie sometime?" My parents were like, "What the fuck?" And
Wait,
he,
wait, wait, wait. Like on the because you had a landline, your priest called you and asked you out?
yes, yes, totally, yes. My parents were like, "Why is he calling you?" I was like, "I don't know. I just wanted to see if I wanted to go to a movie sometime." And they were like, "What the hell?" And they like called the school or whatever. And he had called like a couple of kids. I don't know if he was just drunk dialing. And then they didn't. He didn't even get in trouble. They just moved him to like another place. That's what
Yeah,
they would do. I think back then they're just like, "Oh, he's moving to another state. He'll call some children there."
they still do that, sir.
Oh,
They
I'm
still.
sure. That's what I
I,
always wonder to a priest. I keep cutting you off. But I always wonder if for a priest of like molesting baby Jesus would be like their Mount Everest. I wonder if that's like their it's terrible.
that would be, you know who he got his dick licked by? Baby Jesus suckled him. That's not you see, that's not okay. That's not um I'm from I'm from Louisiana and Catholicism is big. We have parishes there.
Okay.
Instead of counties. My dad was an altar boy in New Orleans. When I got older, I went to school, I got expelled, and I went to this little a Catholic school called Annunciata in Houma, Louisiana. And they used to have a priest there that did indeed go to jail. He was one of the few that got in trouble. His name was Father Melanson,
Well,
and yeah, he was all right though. I guess I don't know all his victims, but I know he got some folks, and there's always more, especially when they're old. It's not like he just started doing that when he was in his
yeah.
60s. That nigga been doing that since he was in school. So it's
Yeah.
but we're
It's
at a
like
point.
Illuminati of child molesters. I mean, that's kind of all the Catholic Church is.
Yeah, but not just child molesters. They got other shit going on in the church.
It's true.
The church has its hands in so much. The church is organization. It's really, I can't say criminal, but it is a organization that delves
No, it
into.
seems like a criminal organization. Seems like mafia. There's a reason God doesn't come back anymore. I think he's probably just so like, oh my God.
What would he do? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, okay, what would God do if he came back here and just started talking to random people and everybody had some
He'd be
sort of.
like, he would just be pointing at people. He'd be like Simon Cowell on American Idol, but instead of like being like, you're gone, he would just be like, going to hell, you're going to hell, you're going to hell.
Yeah, but that okay, I don't know. I think he would revel in the disappointment first. Like I think he would just like
Yeah.
walk around and like be like, how the fuck did I get here? And I just don't pedophilia.
He would
I'm
be
big.
like fire, cleansing fire. I think he would just burn everything. In the Bible, he's pretty hardcore. I think we always talk about Catholic God as being so nice, but like in the Bible, he loves killing people. He's just like that's his jam. He just gets angry at the little ants, and then I feel like I have a pass because this is true. I was born on Christmas.
Your birthday's Christmas?
My birthday's Christmas, so I have like a get into heaven free card. I feel like I got the coupon. I'm like,
We share a birthday. That's my dude. I could have been the Messiah, but it was just a couple years early. I like that.
yeah. Are your birthday's Christmas too?
No, no, my
Oh,
kid's mom's birthday is Christmas. One of my
oh, okay.
children's moms is Christmas.
Oh,
Her
that's
middle name,
awesome.
well, yes, she's a demon though. So
She has the coupon too. I feel like everyone who had been born on Christmas, when you get to the pearly gates, they're just like, it's like getting free ice cream on your birthday at a restaurant. They're just like, you get in.
you have no clue how right you are, sir.
Yeah, I hope. I make a lot of God jokes, so hopefully they'll let me in. Now you were born there in Louisiana?
I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
I
then
was.
when did you come to California?
Ooh, I came out here as a young person when I was about, let's say, 5, maybe 6, like 5, and then I stayed until I was 8, 9, and I got on the plane Thanksgiving Day, the day after Thanksgiving, and went to live with my dad in New Orleans again. And I stayed out there through some, when it was the murder capital of the world. Uh, and
Were
then
you
when
there during Katrina?
I was 45 minutes away during the Katrina, I was in Houma, Louisiana. I actually went to work. I went catch a boat across from uh what is that? From Sulphur. I would catch a boat the day after Katrina, less than 6 hours after Katrina. I didn't have power, so
Oh,
I didn't see everything that was going on because Houma was
oh,
fine. Houma was just 45 minutes away. We didn't have any damage like talking about. I got a
wow.
call, I went to work. And when I got to the office, while we were waiting for the boat to get there, I started watching TV and I was like, man, what the fuck is going on? Like, I was awake for this. We were drinking and smoking, everything was fine. Like, I'm confused on how New Orleans is so horrible.
Oh,
And then I got some calls and I ended up getting off the boat to bring somebody because they didn't have the credentials. And I saw the amount of people driving on the 10 toward New Orleans. And I was like, okay, so it's going to be cool. They got some help coming. And it didn't turn out that way. Like those people just sat there with their boats. They didn't let people in to assist.
oh,
Um, and I didn't understand it. I still don't. My dad is a retired firefighter, but he still has his badge. So he went in the city and he and even through all those people, he ran into 5 people he knew and got them out by his car. And he told me I couldn't go because I wouldn't react well. And I would ask people why they ain't doing their fucking jobs, and I would get then everybody in a whole bunch of bullshit. So it was a thing. Um, I wasn't there. My cousin and my auntie were there. Uh, they got stuck on Bullard at a hospital. Um, they were on, I guess, in the hospital for about 2 days, and a military truck came through and brought them to a different staging point, closer to like Chef, and then brought them to the convention center, and then brought them to Texas, and just it was just a weird situation. Um, and you got to realize that's America. This isn't. I don't know if you watched the Katrina footage.
oh,
Uh,
wow. Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't. The things that went on in New Orleans during that time aren't acceptable. But I need people to realize. Imagine if something like that happened in LA. You know what I mean? Imagine if something like that happened in New York. Like it's the the people aren't as friendly to each other as the South. Yeah, we do some horrible shit, but uh, if that happened anywhere else, it would have been probably worse. It's a long time for people to be without food, water, without basic necessities. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not from there. I'm not gonna say I'm not from there, but I wasn't there for it. But I was close, and I know a couple people that were impacted. Um, I guess like a month and a half later, I got to go in my mom's house in New Orleans and my auntie's house. It's a townhouse. I had to take some dogs out and bury them, and I don't know. It's just ass backwards. That whole situation, if you look at it, and everybody, you're into conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Uh, there's a conspiracy with Katrina,
Yeah.
so a lot of people say the levees blew up because they didn't want white neighborhoods to flood. And that is something that people believe in and have done before on a smaller scale. Um, I don't. It's if you look at that situation and then you just think about America. I watched I watched looting. I watched looting be described and for black people, and then I watched scavenging and struggling to survive when white people were doing the same thing. It'd be the person right
Yeah.
next to them, it'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
it's two different reporters, same area, same block,
Yeah.
same view, and they're describing two different situations. And it's like, okay, but niggas did steal a whole bunch of TVs during Katrina. I will say, I will say the looting was, I think Geraldo, he followed some looters into the projects, and like they had like apartments filled with electronic goods. And Geraldo was like, I don't understand. They don't have electricity. What are they going to do with all of this? And it was hilarious to me. But you know, that that situation made me look at a lot of people differently. Um, not I don't know. It's just the way that things are. I talked to my boss, when I worked at this offshore company, and he told me, well, those people pay taxes. They deserve to have their houses checked first. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Because the search, like the house to house and seeing if people needed help, started from the places that didn't have water first. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Bourbon Street was open. Bourbon Street did not flood. When Canal Street was flooded, they still had people drinking on Bourbon.
Wow.
Like, this is not a joke. It's not a game. Like, people were going about their day, and then when they did create a base of operations and how you gonna search, they started and just fanned out from places that weren't inundated, that weren't flooded. And you searched houses that were dry. You spent a week and a half, 2, 3 weeks searching houses that were dry before you even got to houses that had people that needed help, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and then it was just, random people searching. They was paying people to go house to house. You paying people to come out here, just random people to make good money, come do shit. You could have just opened the fucking gates and let, if these niggas that had the boats were gonna loot in the first 2, 3 days, I'm fine with that. But y'all pulling people out, that's fine. But it just took too long. It left people angry and in dangerous situations.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they talk about it was gonna happen. This happened. My dad had to get pulled out of a house through the attic and then go out the little front door attic in the front of the house for, I think, Hurricane Betsy. So the water's like 6, 7 feet high. It happened before. It's just a different type of people, different type of response. When you have neighbors and you care about each other, and you have people that have skill sets, more than one or two people in the neighborhood that can do something, it's a different result. Now, nobody does nothing, sir. Everything is electronic. The technology increase has stopped us from wanting to do anything. So yeah, but yeah, you got me talking about Katrina. I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
that was fascinating. I remember when it happened and just seeing it on TV, and it was just horrible. And it did seem super racist. I remember a lot of Republicans. I think Bush was in the White House at the time, and so I think Karl Rove was just like, would say stuff about Republicans. Yeah, it was awful. I felt so bad for everybody there. I can't even. I've never been in a disaster. I grew up in Oregon, and then I lived in California, so I've never.
Oh, sir,
Knock
we
on wood.
in Homer, we have hurricane parties. Okay, for a hurricane, and I was having a hurricane party for Katrina. All right, a hurricane party is, that they're going to cut off services. You're not going to have gas stations, any stores to go to. You're going to have a curfew. They're going to tell you to be inside by a certain time. So you have to, and weed was illegal and kind of is still there. You would have to go out, get your weed. Hopefully nobody sold out, and then you gotta hope you can find somebody that has good prices, since it's at a premium. Everything's gonna be down for 2 or 3 days. You get your
Yeah,
sack or 2 or 3 sacks. You get all your cigars. You get all your alcohol. You don't have to buy food if you have food in the freezer, because it's gonna turn off and you have to cook everything anyway. And you sit there, you drink and smoke, and then the power goes off, and you continue drinking and smoking. You have a grill ready, and in case shit ain't coming back on, You have ice chests where you can throw your shit in if you have ice, and you sit there and do that. And that's what I did until I got the call to go to work. And for every hurricane, that's what I'd do. I'd find people. I lived with white people. I had friends, and we would just chill out.
Oh,
And that's what a hurricane is, and it's a natural disaster, but it's beautiful. A hurricane is a beautiful fucking thing. Like, you can go outside and it's storming, the wind is whipping, it's fucking, oh, this is crazy. Look at that garbage can. Oh shit. And then less than a minute and a half later, you could be in the eye and it's sunny. And you can see all the darkness that just passed around you, all around you. You can see the storm still moving all around you. But where you are inside of that storm is bright as fuck. The sun is actually shining. And that's a weird, weird experience, but it's beautiful.
yeah.
Um,
I love storms, so it would be cool to see, but it sounds terrifying. And I couldn't live anywhere where weed's not legal. I would be so paranoid of of the cops. The police just seem terrifying in the South to me. So I would be in jail. I would be in jail. Yeah. I love weed. I can't leave. West Coast is best coast. I think now though they maybe pass some sort of legalization, but it's probably
in
terrible
Louis
stores.
in Louisiana, they have it's kind of decriminalized, and they do have a medical program.
Okay.
Um, But for like last year, 2 years ago, their thing was that they didn't offer. You couldn't smoked flour, like flour wasn't legal. You couldn't smoke flour, like burnable flour wasn't legal. And I was like, that doesn't make no goddamn sense. Y'all still
That's
trying to put
weird.
niggas in jail. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think you can now. I don't know
Weed
exactly.
gets no respect. I hate it. Even in California, it's legal. It's 30% tax. That's crazy. It's such a high, nothing else in the world. They're just like 30% tax. Like, if you put 30% tax on cars, like you couldn't have cars. I don't, yeah. We've had people are always like the first Catholic president, the first this president. We need the first stoner president.
We had
That's
the first stoner president and the second one, but they don't. Oh, and the third one because they don't. They and the first Catholic president was our first stoner president. Actually,
yeah,
um, he we talking about JFK was the first Catholic,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he was the first stoner president because he had back injuries and he smoked, but
Oh, that's
Bill didn't do what he was supposed to do and be like, yeah, I smoke weed, bitch, and listen to me play this
right.
saxophone. Like
Yeah.
Obama should have came out, yeah, I smoke weed, bitch. That's why my lips are black. The same way Michael Phelps should have been like, yeah, bitch, I smoke weed and it's not a performance enhancing drug. Look what I'm doing to you bitches. Like, look, oh, he should have been up there like,
Biden said he was going to legalize it, then he just never did.
he forgot.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
forgot.
exactly. He forgot. He just lied. I feel like they always lie. They're like, "Oh, we're going to." It's still, it's just crazy to me. It's not legal in America. It's Dianne
It
Feinstein. She was really against it, and she was a Democrat
It
or
can't be
senator.
legal in America, sir, because if we legalize weed, that's gonna fuck with treaties and coalitions that we are in as the United States. People don't look at that enough. Like the bylaws of shit. Like we can't do that. You can't do that in America because I'm sure it violates different shits that we're in. Different councils that the United States is a part of. We can't profit off of that.
And it would
And
be fun and cool. And it seems like anything that's fun and cool anywhere in America is just like no. It's like the movie Footloose. I'm like, no more dancing. Everything's illegal. I
Weed,
hate it. Weed.
weed is 30 taxed at 30. What's alcohol tax at? The same,
Like,
like eight.
I don't even know if that. Like two.
Seriously? Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That's sales tax. Okay.
Yeah, because they have
Yeah.
sales tax and they just bake it in at like 2%. Gas is like a couple of cents. Stoners just get no respect, where they're just like, you're lucky. It's like the government was literally like, you're lucky we're giving this to you. This is as good as it gets. I'm just like, this is crazy. There's just
You live in an apartment, sir?
I do. I live in Venice. I have the best deal in the world. It's very small. The studio, no kitchen. I have a fridge. But I only pay 1,000.
That's
I don't know if I should
beautiful,
say
sir.
public. So I'm like, I'll live here forever. My back door is like, or my front door opens to like an alley. So it's very, um, Venice-y. There's like a dumpster a foot from my door that someone's always screaming in. Luckily, it's empty right now. Um, but I love it. I'm like, for how cheap I pay, it's what I paid. I moved to Oregon before the pandemic just because I was so burned out on LA, and I lived in like North Hollywood. I was just like, this is crazy. It's so hot all the time. So I moved back to Portland and then COVID hit. And it was so sad. Everything still like shut down there. So I was like, I'll move back to LA because I saw this on the internet. It was like, this can't be real. I called the guys like, you don't want it. It like opens into an alley. There's like a dumpster. I was like, I don't care if it's in Venice and $1,000. I'll live there till the world stops turning. I live at McDonald's for all my food. I'm gonna have a heart attack.
But that's cool, sir. If you that close to the world, you can hit everything off of your little alley. You could just disappear sometimes. If you want to be
I
a
love
homeless
it.
person, pop
I have
out.
a motorcycle, like a cheap motorcycle. You probably remember from comedy school, and
Yeah,
I just do Uber Eats on it. And so it's weird because of COVID. I think the only people that could live at the beach pre-pandemic were like old rich people, and they're all dead or moved now. And so the beach here is just empty. But it's just enough to like get by on Uber Eats. But I just drive up and down the strip and I'll go to like rich person area, like the Palisades. And it's empty. There's no one there. And it's just like, bring my $40 sandwich to mansion, and I just leave it outside at the end of some giant driveway. And it's great. I love it. I don't
sir,
see anyone, don't talk to anybody. It's great.
sir. Okay, all right, all right, all right. So you do this. I'm not trying to get into your pockets or anything.
But
Oh,
no,
and
totally. Yeah.
I asked you about an apartment because I was going to tell you you have some sunlight. You need to grow weed, but
Uh,
we'll get back to that another time. How do you feel? And I understand you're a task worker. You dig the Uber Eats and all that. It is helpful and everything. But I don't know you that well,
yeah.
but I'm sure they don't vet people. You know what I mean? I've seen some of the videos online of people eating food or doing dumbass shit, right? And
Yeah.
I need people to realize and understand, like, is this what the world is? Because I don't trust people. Like me,
Yeah.
personally, I don't
I
trust.
think they're pretty strict about tampering. Like I I hate germs, and so I'm always like, I just have a special bag and I just put the food in, try not to interact with it as much as possible, and I just wear it on my back. But it has a lot of tamper stickers on it, and so if you get into the bag, I think the person would be like, "Hey, yada yada." And in LA, the customers I think are a little more particular than the other places.
Pickle,
Um, yeah,
pickle.
they'll text me these like manifestos, of like the things I need to do. I'm just like, I'm just gonna throw this outside on the curb in front of your house. I'm not doing any of that. But I have all these, yeah, I have marks on my account of like, oh, the bag is crinkled, or oh, the yada yada, and I'm just always like, whatever.
What's the
Um,
largest tip you've received?
what's the what?
Largest tip? Because I was a delivery driver. I was a Domino's driver for a while, and
100,
and a place called Redfish Pizza. But what's the largest tip you've received
$100,
for how much food?
just one trip. And it was only like 2 blocks, but it was because it was Thanksgiving. I
That's
think I
cool.
just brought a
That's.
sandwich and somebody was like, okay. I
Have you
mean,
ever been
it's
sexually harassed?
do what?
Have you ever been sexually harassed or accosted?
I mean, I don't know if you'd call it a harassed or accosted. Sometimes girls and ladies, people will be friendly or whatever. I deliver alcohol, and so that's been a new thing. And so sometimes people are a little drunk. Um, Yeah, it's funny because sometimes it'll be like I'll do the breakfast runs. I'll do like 7, 8 a.m. and I'll just be like, bring me 3 gallons of vodka. You have to like scan their ID with your phone and um so I've seen some interesting stuff. People are pretty nice to me if they do. Usually it's great because it's all no contact. A lot of it, it's just that'll say no contact. Don't ring my doorbell. I don't want to know you exist. Just put the food down and leave like a ghost. And I really like that. Sometimes they'll come out and like talk to me or see me, and I always assume this person's going to kill or rob me. Um, So I'm always just trying to make a quick getaway. Most of the time, I just say, "Me no speak English. I don't understand," and I just pretend I don't understand what they're saying, and then just get on motorcycle as fast as I can and leave.
That's
Um,
what's up. That's what's up.
I
So,
Yeah, I figure everything's an ambush, but I love it because there's a California fast food law that Uber falls under, where they pay they say they it comes out to with mileage and time, you get like $22 an hour or 23,
yeah,
that no matter what. So it's like if you pick up an order and it's like that it tells you how much you get paid before. So it'll say, pick up, Subway sandwich and take it to Frank and wherever, $3. Or sometimes it'll say, I try to only do the ones that are like 10 or 20, just so it's a little more worth it. But if you take a low one, like 3 or 4 or $5, and it takes you an hour, they'll pay you the difference. They'll be like, okay, if it's 22 an hour and this cost X amount. But it's you have to be what's known as like active clock time or whatever. Like you have to be, if you're getting paid hourly, you have to be like having just accepted an order. You can't just be like chilling, waiting for something. But I love it. I do like 4 or 5 hours a day. I do like 5 or 6 days a week. It's just super easy. Um, I love it. Yeah.
okay, okay. I just find the gig economy scares me just because it's just regular people. And I'm sure you have other skills.
Yeah.
You've had other a
No,
different
not
job
really.
other than this. You've never had another job other than this?
No, I have no other skills, but
Yeah, but you've worked a job.
yes, I worked at
Yeah.
Arby's.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of the people that have these jobs aren't able to work a job. You know what I mean? And I'm not judging them. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that I question, I got a Pizza Hut now. They don't have delivery drivers anymore. It's all if you order a delivery
It's me.
pizza, yeah, if you order a delivery from what's his name, and it's not you, but it's some random person
No,
from
it's me. I
here.
got a special bag that I have a special now. I bought a pizza backpack. So it's like I
They
can fit them laying down and it unfolds like an accordion if I want. And I can fit in 3 larges.
oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah. I live right by, sorry, cut you off again. I live right by Pizza Hut. I just
Pizza Hut, it was. I love Pizza Hut. I always love Pizza Hut for the rest of my life because their pizza is pan pizza, and then I don't know. They used to have this something called Godfather's Pizza in New Orleans. Oh
yeah, they had that in Oregon. I don't know if it
yeah,
was the same,
you
but
remember Godfathers with the
yeah.
little black and yellow with the little Godfather hat, like
Yeah.
the little yeah. We used to have that, and that was the first place I ever had a personal pan pizza, and I feel. I don't know when Pizza Hut did it. I was cool with it, but yeah. Um,
Domino's, I think, is the greatest. They went through like a renaissance. They had like the little cheese like in the crust, and then you could buy like the little crust things.
Domino's is sir. Have you seen the Chiquitza?
No,
Have you haven't seen the Chiquitza? Okay, so the
no,
Chiquitza is you remember when KFC had the double chicken breast sandwich, right? It was just a
yes,
okay. I don't know how you felt about it. I don't know if you bought it.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know if you
yeah.
tried it. You tried it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to go to KFC a lot.
That shit was huge. I always
Yeah,
wanted to try it, but I was worried, like, nigga, are they really trying to kill us? So now KFC has a Chiquitza. And I think you understand from what the name is, what it is, right?
I actually don't. I don't.
Okay, so a Chiquitza is how they used to have that double chicken sandwich. Instead, it's just a fried chicken breast
Yeah.
covered in tomato sauce, covered in mozzarella and pepperoni.
Wow,
And that is
that
their
sounds
new
good.
right, but is it necessary? Like,
No, but they're so good at. I used to always eat these. What do they call them? Like chicken kickers or something. They had these little like. It was just like nacho cheese and a piece of chicken on a sandwich. I'd eat like 100 a
yes,
day.
they're little sliders. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They're like Carl's Jr. They know how to just kind of combo up food into weird ways. And
It's that stoner food, so they are preying on the people that are really fucking high and willing to try it and be like, you know what?
yes,
It doesn't sound good, but this shit right here is oh
yeah,
magnificent. So
that's
yeah,
yeah. I feel like
Because
stoners they do get respect in the business community, like capitalism, like
oh yeah,
businesses cater to them, but governments hate them.
yes, and that's why I believe. All right, that now I'm bringing it into a different. This is why I believe that you can have change in the world, but they also we bring them money and they do respect us in that manner. But we live in a world right now where nobody's ever going to give anything up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nobody is truly going to boycott something in everything in America. If
yeah,
that okay, pandemic, Amazon went crazy, right? Right. Amazon went nuts in the
yeah,
pandemic. Uh, a lot of these businesses went nuts in the pandemic. They are spending so much money right now. They're making so much money, but they're putting out so much money as well. If you could do, and I'm talking not even 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks. I shop. I go to the grocery store. I buy groceries. Sometimes I go to Smart Final and buy big bags of, like I buy the top sirloin and cut it up and break it down. Uh,
yeah,
I I'm from the South. Like I was born in New Orleans, but my grandparents owned a farm in Alabama, and I lived on a farm in the summers. And like I've cut out bull nuts with my granddad and accidentally ate them. I didn't know what he cooked. They looked delicious. They smelled great. He told me to take a bath, and I came out and I was like, "Ooh, hush puppies." And then I bit into it. I was like, "Oh, I need a knife and fork." I was like, "Ooh, what would he do? How would he make these fried meatballs?" And then and then I walked outside and I saw the bucket we used that morning, and I was like, "This nigga fed me nuts." So I say all that to say, like, I can cook a meal and I understand how to live, without having to go outside and buy anything for a while. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, I don't need to uh I don't need a lot of the shit that we have. It's fun to see it and experience it, but I don't need it. A lot of America does. We
yeah,
spend so much money right now. If we were silent for 14 days, and I'm talking like really silent. Like we went to each other's homes and had a meal and we did shit with each other in somebody's house and went back to our home and then the next day did the same shit. You can go to work, that's fine. You can buy gas, that's fine. But don't go nowhere. Don't don't fly nowhere.
yeah,
Don't use a Nair Uber. Don't use a Nair nothing. And you just have a day of people and going to a park or a home or something and using the things that you bought from a grocery store. These people would lose their fucking minds. And
yes,
people don't realize that. They don't realize how strong, you know, our shopping money is to these people. How much money we spend a day. Broke people spend 50, $60 a day.
yeah,
Homeless people spend $30, $40 a day.
yeah,
You know? Like if we really got together and decided, hey, we need some change, the pockets is where you should do it. But
yeah,
this is America and we don't have any unity truly. Like I know that white people are together on some sort of plane. Niggas don't like each other. Latinos are super together. Asians are super together. But even with that, they not gonna sit there and do the same. Oh, I'm not doing this today.
yeah,
Everybody feels they're entitled or they need this self-care or what. Man, fuck that. Look, for 14 days, you can come to my house and eat breakfast. I'm gonna go to your house and eat lunch, and then we go to his house and eat dinner. You know what I mean? And do that for 14 days. And unfortunately, too much alcohol is gonna be involved and they're gonna have a whole bunch of crime and people gonna be fighting and killing each other. But that's what we should be doing. Whenever something goes on that we don't like, whenever something happens that we really can't deal with, stay the fuck off Instagram.
yeah,
Don't like anything, stay off of Facebook. Don't like anything, don't go to McDonald's, don't buy a Starbucks, don't go to Walmart, don't go to Target. Like right now, we have 3 weeks of food in the freezer. Seriously. And I know this because I went shopping yesterday and I separated 8 bags of ground beef. I got 9 bags of various types of chicken, chicken breasts, chicken thighs, chicken legs. I think I might have 12 of those. I got like 5 bags of shrimp, 4 bags of fish. Um, and I'm not talking fried processed shit either, shit that I have to bring to life. That's what it is. But we need to do that. And it's gonna be boring, but and somebody, the leader of this organization, is gonna die in the end of it. But like that's what we need to do. And we could get change. But no, that'll never happen. We can't do shit like that. That's too simple.
Yeah.
Like we can't sit together and have a meal. That's too religious. That's too I can't say the word gay anymore, but yeah, that's too gay. That's boring. It's
Well, it's like a
lame.
general strike. That's
It
a
would
lot
it
of
would
people.
it would work, sir.
Yeah.
It would honestly work. And it would work to the point of motherfuckers be like, okay, so what the fuck do y'all really want? You know? And that's where the problem's really gonna come. When you do finally get some attention and you can get some change, you're gonna have so many voices that want something else. You're gonna have so
Yeah.
many different avenues of, oh, we need this, no, 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 we need this, no, we need this, no, we need this, and then it's just fighting. It's like the head of the family died and everybody wants something. So, but
That's
yeah.
true. I mean, some people say that's why when Martin Luther King, when he was killed right before he was calling for a general strike.
Yep, but not just that. Also, he changed just from caring about black people, caring about poor white folk, and
Yeah.
that it sounds like I'm doing cocaine, but it's not. I have I grow weed and I have this tray, and I'm using my tray right now to break up and do my little ganja. I'm out of mine right now, but um,
I
yeah.
haven't used flour in forever. I've been doing dabs.
Oh, the crack cocaine of marijuana.
I know.
Oh,
And it's so sad because now I'm totally like it's lost all impact on me. Like it doesn't even barely affect me. So flour has no effect at all.
that shit
Um,
is so delicious, though, sir. Don't have you lost time? When I first got into dabs, I would lose time.
oh, I love it. There's a Venice delivery place here that does 5 grams for $40. And that includes delivery fee.
So you got a torch.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
So
all
I
right.
just feel like it's like the greatest thing of all time because it's a week, $40 lasts me a week. Yeah, and that includes the delivery thing. So I'm like, it seems cheaper a little bit than flour. Because like I could before I switched, I could easily go through 2 bags, a week. Um, or like a gram. I shouldn't be saying all this stuff on the internet, but it's legal in California. Like a
Yeah.
gram of flour a day. Um, but you can't really do like a gram of concentrate a day. Um,
Oh, well,
just
you
fall
can,
asleep.
but it
But
is not wise.
yeah, like drinking a bottle of vodka. And that's why I like it. It's because like I can just kind of it's just great. Yeah. It's like now there's pills that I want to try where my tolerance is so high, but they have at my local store. I haven't tried them yet, but they have 200 milligram pills. You can THC pills. And I was like, that would be great. That's like because
Over the
that
counter?
yeah.
Hmm.
But it's like it's still kind of expensive. It's like 15, $16. So it's like I don't think I couldn't do it every day, but they have a bag of like another brand. I haven't tried them yet. Where they're like it's like a bag of I think like 10 and each one has like 50 milligrams of THC or something. I don't know. I gotta try it out. But I thought maybe that'll be the next level. Hopefully the price will just keep going down. And yeah, if I could just find a pill that was cheap and take that once a day, I'd be like, that'd be amazing.
And you said you're from the Pacific Northwest, sir, right? Correct?
Yes,
All
yes.
right. How do you feel about the decriminalization of drugs in that area?
Um, I think now they're recriminalizing it, but I think they just were trying something different. I mean, I get it. Portland, I moved up there because I was burned out in LA. I grew up there. I got a little like 1 bedroom place for $600. Was
Oh,
driving for Uber. I would drive for like 3 hours a day and just lived a normal life. It was great. And then COVID hit and I didn't want to do Uber anymore because everyone was like, crazy. And so I just sat inside for like 2 years, and half of the businesses in downtown Portland closed and have still never reopened. It's much different there than here still. It's like really high crime. Everyone from California moved there, so all the rents like doubled. I pay now less here than I would pay there. Um, but with the decriminalization, I think it was the crime and the meth head stuff was just getting to a point of just, I think the government didn't know what to do. They're like, we got to try something. And then it just kind of, no one saw the pandemic coming. So I think you had the decriminalization hit at the same time as COVID.
Phew,
And it just became a shit
perfect
show.
storm. Perfect storm and niggas getting fucked up and can't go nowhere.
Yeah, there was like open air fentanyl markets in downtown Portland. It was like a farmer's market, but just for fentanyl. And they
Mhm.
were like
I,
everywhere.
I've seen I saw this on Instagram, a safe snorting kit that had a ring, it had alcohol wipes, it had cut straws,
Wow.
no little plastic shavings, little bags and little things like that. And I
Yeah.
feel like I know that there's like drug dealers in jail right now, like mad because they revolutionized the game of like crack cocaine and powder. They used to give a little grab bag so you can get your fuck up on. And they just out there mad. And the government's legally just giving this shit away. It's like you stole my shit. That's trademark.
I mean, I
That's
think they just didn't know what to do. And I was lucky. I had it easy, I think, because I never was curious to try another drug. I just was always like, weed's perfect. That's all I need. I don't even drink. I'm just like weed. Um, where I think that stuff got so powerful, it was like people would try it once and then that's it. That's their life, you know. Um, it just they either die or do it for 10 years, you know, and I think it's just so powerful. It's scary. But I think now you'll see the next thing in science will be they're figuring out how to like neutralize almost to make you immune to the drug.
the receptors. Yeah.
Yeah. And that I think will be a big thing, but I don't, yeah, it'll be interesting because I think instead of saying, here's a jail sentence, they'll just give them a shot
I think
and
that's
then I don't
easily
know.
abused, though, sir. I think that
Oh, yeah.
if, and they have a drug right now that you take that, not, what is it? It's not the Suboxone, is it? I don't
No,
know.
I think the stuff I'm thinking of is it's like real. It's like more like a neurological level. I don't even know how it works yet, but they'll just essentially give you a shot, and then if you tried to use fentanyl, it just wouldn't have an effect on you. You wouldn't feel anything.
Yes. Okay. So my point is, sir, if they do that with that, you think they wouldn't level that into something else?
Well, yeah, no, it'll be, and it'll cause psychosis, I think, on a mass level too. Like there'll be a lot of thousands of suicides, I would think, you know, or crime. People just, you
They
know,
can't.
I smoked for 20 years, and if someone just gave me a shot and was like, nicotine doesn't do anything to you, I would have gone insane.
You wouldn't be able to deal, sir.
Yeah, no, it'll be the future is going to be weird. I think now they have pills that can make time go like so if like instead of saying here's a 10-year jail sentence and they just sit you in a room for 10 years they'll be able to be like here's a pill and they sit you in a chair for 10 minutes but psychologically neurologically it feels like 10 years to you.
That's actually kind of beautiful.
Yeah, that's gonna be, but also for abuse, think of like, you know, a dictator or somebody's torturing somebody. They're like, I'm gonna make you feel like you spent a million years sitting in this room or whatever.
I think that's still better than what the actual jail system is. Um,
Yes.
our jail system and our justice. All right, I'm a black man. I don't know if people know that. I might not sound it, but I you know I feel that the only racism left in America truly is like real estate and justice system. You
Yeah. Oh
know,
yeah. Justice system's terrible.
it is how many oh let's not even talk about justice system. How many people have you watched get killed online?
Uh Accidentally, I'm sure one or two, but that's I have a weak stomach for that stuff. I can't really.
You remember Faces of Death?
I remember it as a kid. I never watched it, but I remember like my friends and stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's basically what the internet is now if you choose to go down that path. And it's kind of hard to I watched a man, this was years ago, and I haven't told anybody about this in a while. So I was watching a video and they had a man on a subway. And subway's packed with people. And everybody's on their phone. And everybody's looking down. And they're in their phone. And this man is looking around. You can see him on the camera. He's looking around at everybody. And he pulls out a gun. And he points at it, just he circles around the subway train. And nobody looks at him. And he looks confused. You can see in his face he looks perplexed, like, man, what the fuck? And he puts his gun away. And he looks like even more confused. He's like, what the fuck's going on here? So he did that shit again. He pulled the gun out, just pointed to people. And nobody looked up at him. Nobody paid attention to him. And he was like, man, what the fuck is going on? You could see him, his wheels turning, like, what is going on? I need fear. And the last time he pulled it out, they had a guy that was getting off the train. And he was waiting for the door and he was looking towards the door. And the dude pulled the gun out, put it to the back of this man's head, and pulled the trigger when the door's open. And then everybody reacted.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little too old for where we are right now. You know, I'm. It's like the conspiracies are in front of us, and we still don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, are you a flat earther? I'm not a flat earther, but if you are, it's okay.
No, I'm a huge space nerd. I'm a
Okay.
My goal in life is to go to space. That's like
So you would
my
do the
mission.
record thing. You would do the Virgin Airlines trip.
Oh, in a second. I've watched those videos thousands of times. I know everything about them. Yeah. Space is only 62 miles away from like average where we are on Earth. And to just straight up, if you got in a car and you drive for 62 miles, you're there. But it's what's crazy is it doesn't seem like that big of a distance to go from like Earth to like infinity. But you have to reach what's called like orbital velocity. So like when you see on TV Virgin Galactic or like a NASA rocket, it's hard to gauge the speed because it's just clouds or blue background. But you have to go to about from 0 to 7,000 miles an hour. It's just like 2 or 3 minutes, which is crazy.
To get out of
Um,
the atmosphere, right?
to get out of the atmosphere to get into space. And then to get to orbit, you got to go. Once you get into orbit, then it kind of takes you faster. You're going 14K. And to break orbital velocity, you got to go faster than 14,000 miles an hour. I think the Apollo astronauts, from here to the moon, it's 450,000 miles an hour or 450,000 miles. And it took them 3 days. So I think they were going like 10 or 15K.
That's insane.
It is. And what's funny is on like the Apollo ships, their walls are like you can see are like, the old videos are like old, like it's just gold tinfoil because there's no wind or anything out there. Um, and so you're just sitting in like this rickety weird thing, just going, and not even that fast for space. For humans, very fast. But like, stuff out there is shooting around at like a zillion miles an hour.
I find all right. So once you get up there, though, like it's not like they're in their seat for the entire trip, right?
Yeah, you got microgravity or zero G's.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason I want to go is there's been this thing I read about it when I was a kid in like the 80s, and now people are getting it. It's one of the reasons billionaires are doing it because they want it for more business sense. But when you're on Earth, you could say climb a mountain and you can look out on a vista and see maybe a couple hundred miles or whatever. You could climb Mount Everest, and that's the tallest point on Earth, and see a couple hundred miles. And so that's your brain is sort of has this sort of scale and scope of life and the Earth, like kind of set in your head. But when you go to like outer space, you look out the window and you can sort of just it keeps going for infinity. You can see the sun for the first time as a giant ball of fire, of which you could fit 1 million planet Earths in. And it's 90 million miles away from you that you're looking at. And so about a quarter of people that go up get what's known as the overview effect. And your brain sort of changes, and all of your brain is like, oh, this is really the stage of reality that I sort of exist within. And they say they feel like almost like the Force with Star Wars. People who get it say they feel just an overwhelming sense of oneness with everything in the universe and how everything is really connected, and it really changes them drastically. And I'm like, I want that so bad. It sounds so cool. And then there's another version called the hyperspace effect, which is really scary. They say it's the astronauts that get that, it's only like a quarter of them, because once then you get to space, some of them then start to, they say, perceive something even bigger. They're like, the universe isn't even the all there is. They kind of get a sense that something is wrapping around that even larger. And some get a sense mentally or telepathically or spiritually of sometimes maybe even beings existing within that larger hyperspace. And some start to really have an overwhelming sense of dread or fear, or it sounds so cool. That's called the hyperspace effect. And um, I want those so bad.
You'll take either one.
I want both. I want to feel the mental impression of the giant space beings that live in hyperspace. Like, what? What is that? Like your brain is just like, what is happening? Yeah, I think that's so cool.
All right, sir. Have you had any alien experiences?
Yeah, I've had a bunch.
What was
I've
your
had a zillion. Have you? I should be asking. You're the
I have okay. So, and this is my first memory of weed,
yeah,
okay, is I was living in Loxley, Alabama, and my granddad was a farmer. He had his farm. I had my uncle who was a football star, got recruited by Bear Bryant when he was young. Um, he got hurt and he was kind of bullshitting, whatever. So he had went out with one of his friends and he took the Volvo. And that morning, when me and my granddaddy went outside, my granddaddy immediately went to the Volvo, and I walked behind him. I watch everything he does, and he opens the door, and he like starts going through the car like he was a cop, right?
yeah,
He's checking everything, and he's looking, and he reaches in the corner of like in the little side door, and he grabs a little Manila envelope, a little tiny envelope, and he opens it and he smells it, and he immediately goes in. He tells me go about my day, and I'm like okay. And he immediately goes inside. He gets my uncle. They come back out, and they start talking. And I had these little Mickey Mouse binoculars. All right, I don't know if you remember, like what's it's not a kaleidoscope. What's the little viewer where you click it and it goes through the
oh, Viewmaster.
Viewmaster? Yes, I had one of those, but I also had these. I had a Disney one of those, but also had these Mickey Mouse binoculars, and they were kid binoculars, but they worked. It didn't give you like 100 times, but they gave you some sort of enhanced viewing. So they were over there talking, and my granddad's bitching at my uncle, and I'm just looking around, and I look up in the air, and they had how I can describe it is a saucer, but it wasn't flat. It had windows. It had like little square windows, not almost rectangle. Just I'll call them rectangle, but they weren't like a deep rectangle. You know what I mean? They weren't tall. They I don't know. So they had these windows, and it was just spinning. And I thought I was tripping, and I used my little Mickey Mouse binoculars, and I looked at it, and I was like, "That's weird as fuck." And I just watched it. It was just spinning. Like it was spinning to the point like I could see the windows. Like I didn't count the windows, but I could see the windows. And I looked back at them arguing. I looked back up at it without the binoculars, and I looked at it with the binoculars, and I was like, "It's weird as shit." And I looked back, and when I looked back, it was gone. And in that same place, I have had that almost. I was maybe 40 feet from there, and this has nothing to do with the UFOs, I don't think, but it was just a weird situation. Uh, I was walking around the yard with a pellet gun, and I looked up, and it would have been maybe 20 feet from where I was standing and 20 feet away from directly under the UFO. Uh, this was years later. Just a big fucking white wolf,
Hmm.
and I looked up, and it was just looking at me, and I just looked at him, and I turned around, and I was thinking about going to get my grandmother, but I was like, I got a pellet gun. I'm fine. I turned back around, it was gone. And when I say it was gone, it was I didn't hear anything. I didn't see no bushes moving. I didn't see a tail going through nothing, and it was gone. There's another day when I was living in Houma, Louisiana. They had a McDonald's that they just built by Village East, and me and my dad. There's a curve when you turn off a Prospect, and you curve. You can see the Rouses and the Family Dollar, and then it curves to where you see this Benoit water tower, and well, see a water tower and then a Benoit sign. And when we turned, you can see the Benoit sign, you see the water tower, but there was a star. And as soon as my dad turned, like even if you were looking straight, it would be in your vision. And I looked up at it and I stared at it because it was just a star that was bright. Like when I say it was a star that was bright, it was a star that was bright. And it just started getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And then it gave like a little like it was like charging up to get brighter, like,
Hmm.
and then it hit the Starship Enterprise. And you know what I mean when I say the Starship Enterprise, it left the
Yeah.
trace.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and uh, I was gonna talk to my dad, and my dad said, "Don't tell me a fucking thing." And I said, and he said, "Just shut the fuck up." And I said, "But," and he's like, "What'd I tell you?" And I was okay, and I shut the fuck up.
Hmm.
And we went home, and I tried to talk to him about it like a couple weeks later, and he shut me the fuck up again. I tried to talk to him about a year later, he shut me the fuck up again. And it wasn't until recently that we had this discussion about it, and he told me, he was like, "You had enough problems at school. I didn't want you going to school telling people you saw aliens in a spaceship and they fuck with you even more."
Cool.
And that's cool, but you know, that's something that we saw together. It's not something
Yeah.
that I brought his attention to, like, "Hey dad, check this out." Or, it was he was driving, his eyes were on the road. When we turned, like we both saw that. And it was different. And the trail, in my head, I'm like, okay, did I just see the birth of a shooting star? You know what I mean? But I don't think it works like that. And it was very weird,
That's
very
cool.
weird. Um, but we used to drive off my dad. When I went to live with my dad, we would drive back from Louisiana for me to come see my sister and my mom here. We would drive, and you see weird things in the sky in Arizona. Um, one night, I kept seeing this light on a hill, but it ended up being an 18 wheeler. But it just like I had seen other things in the sky, but then it was like they had a light that just kept hitting this hill.
Yeah.
And I guess it was an 18 wheeler coming over the hill, but that doesn't explain things in the sky. But I told my dad, and he was sleeping. And he woke up. He's like, "All right, time to go." And he started the car and just pulled in front of the fucking 18 wheeler. And I was like, "What is your fucking problem?" And he hurried up and threw the reverse. And but yeah.
He was
Uh,
probably scared of UFOs. A lot of people, they have that reaction. They don't want to talk about if they see something. They don't want to.
oh, my dad believes.
Yeah.
My dad believes in a different way though. My dad has gone through changes in life. He's not a woman or anything, but he just feels like he don't curse no more. He doesn't. My dad grew up calling me a bitch and a hermaphrodite and a homo. Like he doesn't use those words anymore. But he believes, and he's gotten religious, and he also, he believes that the Bible and aliens go hand in hand.
I think the same.
Yeah.
And so does the Catholic Church. They have a, like you were saying, this isn't Catholicism related, but when you saw the wolf, that's, I'm sure if you heard of like the books, or there's this show on History Channel now about Skinwalker Ranch.
The Skinwalker the thing. Okay. So Skinwalkers, I believe, are hybrids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and a
Like
lot of people have, there's a very famous, the government bought a place called Skinwalker Ranch in Utah and now studies the paranormal there. And
for
one of
real?
the reasons, yeah, yeah. They have a History Channel show about it. It's pretty cheesy, but the government really bought this place and has studied it. They bought it through an aerospace corporation called Bigelow Corporation. Um, but one of the reasons they bought it was a rancher just bought it to like be a normal farm rancher there guy. And he had a bunch of UFO interactions, and one was very similar to he saw a UFO. And then the next day he saw a big giant wolf. It was huge. That was gonna like attack his cattle, and he shot it, and the bullet like went through it, or it didn't affect him, and the giant wolf just disappeared. And I guess that's why they call it skinwalker. The term Native Americans would use when they would see an alien and then see a wolf would be skinwalker. They would say it would change its shape or whatever. But that's like a common.
You for real?
Yeah. It's like a
Uh,
common thing. You probably saw one. You could have even been abducted. I mean, there's a lot of times when people see the craft leave on your second story and you see it phase out or you see it warp out and you think, oh, we saw it and now we're just seeing it leave. What you don't realize is there could be an abduction in between there. And there's sort of that's where there's the hypnotism and the memory splicing. You should listen to it's fascinating on YouTube. They have it. Have you ever heard of? They were the first in America UFO abductees, Betty and Barney Hill.
uh,
Uh,
is that did they make a movie? Oh, wait, did they make a movie about those people?
yes, and now Barack Obama is producing a new one for Netflix, and it's he was African American and she was white, and this was like the 1950s, and so they kind of just kept a low profile. They were like driving home one night and got abducted, but they didn't kind of realize it till later. They were just like, we're having weird like things. We don't really understand what's going on. And so they went to like a psychologist to hypnotize them. And it was one of the first like hypnotism things with abductees. And they have them separate and they hypnotize her and walk her back, regress her through it. And you could hear it on YouTube, both of their testimonies under hypnosis. And she's like normal and fine and just like, oh, they're very nice and showing us stuff. And he is like losing his mind. He is like, it's really almost hard to listen to. He's like crying and wailing and just having a very, very difficult time with the whole experience. And it's really sad. A few years later, he died of a brain hemorrhage just from stress of the experience. And then she lived to be in like her 80s.
That's
Sorry, cut
crazy.
you off. But you should
No,
listen to it on YouTube. It's fascinating.
you're good. Have you ever watched The Third Kind?
Close Encounter of the Third Kind?
No, The Third Kind with what's the girl Mila Jovovich,
No,
where
no.
she plays the she's like a psychologist and she hypnotizes the people and they start like talking weird to her when they're hypnosis and then like the aliens like when he opens his mouth and the light comes out. It's all like recorded and shit. And then they had the one
I
of her
remember now what you're talking about. I never saw it, but I do remember that. I think that's based on true stuff.
Yeah, one of her patients. No, they show the police video. Like it's spliced in with how they make the movie, but they show the police video of the guy. Uh, if you've ever seen City of God,
Yeah,
I don't. You've seen that?
yeah.
You know how at the end they run the interview with the real knockout Ned,
I
and
barely remember it now.
yeah. So the third kind is kind of like that, but it's like during the movie they run the real footage, and one of her patients, he went home and like I think he killed his family and then like walked outside and killed himself on the porch or some shit.
Hmm.
But they have like the other like her recordings of their situations.
That's
I don't
cool. I'll
think
watch it.
yeah, it's a good movie. I don't think we don't believe a lot of shit that we should. Um I don't think that they're not around. Like I was telling you about that, the Prime Co phones.
Yeah,
So years ago, like 2000, you remember the Nokias, the indestructible ones, the little small ones that were like a little tank, the little rectangle ones.
yeah, yeah,
You could download ringtones for them. You could change the covers and all that.
yeah.
Um, we went from that and then to like razors and then to the Nokias with the chirp chirp and all these other different kind of phones. They had a company called Primeco Phone. All right, it was the spokesperson was an alien. That was their little mascot. It was an alien. Um, and his whole shtick was, oh, they're gonna be mad that oh look, you have all this technology. They're gonna be mad at me for giving it to you. Oh my gosh. And they would drop different phones. And the phones were cool. It was like the beginning of the cool phone era to where we are right now. And there's a little purple alien and all his commercials were, he's bitching about how he's allowed us to get this information, this technology, and oh, they're gonna be mad at me. And then Primeco went away. You didn't hear about it no more. You didn't see none of it no more, and it just went away. And I feel like in today's world, our commercials are how we feel. They used to have. I don't know if you know what Uverse is. I don't know if it's not a company, but it's like I guess a part of cable or some shit. It's
Yes.
like your Wi-Fi and everything, your everything. Anyway, so they used to have these Uverse commercials where it'd be like the family in the house. You got the mom, the dad, and two kids, right? And like the mom's in the kitchen, she's washing dishes, and the sink explodes, and like it starts shooting shit about the sink, but she's on her phone and she's fine. And then he goes to the dad. He's in the living room on the lazy boy, and the ceiling fan falls past him, and then like the TV explodes, and he's fine. And then it goes to, like the little girl, and she's in her room, and like her wall's on fire or some shit, and she's fine. And it goes to the boy, and I forgot what was going on with him. Oh, he was wherever he was sitting. A car drove through the wall, but he was fine because he was on his phone. And then all of a sudden they cut the Wi-Fi signal, and everybody in the house all of a sudden is like, "Oh, what's going on here? Oh, this is bullshit." Blah blah blah. And that was the point of the commercial that you're okay as long as you have Wi-Fi, no matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter. You don't even give a fuck about what's going on. Your house is on fire. You don't care because you have a Wi-Fi signal. And I feel like if you look at commercials like a little bit deeper, you'll realize how they really look at us as a society. And
Yeah.
it's kind of rude. It's kind of rude that this is how they think about us. And I'm racist. I'm gonna say that. You look like a little racist, man. Like you got a little swastika hidden in your tattoo somewhere. But I feel a type of way about not like one race, but everybody. And especially
Mhm.
my people. I'm critical of my people, but I also understand that sometimes they do have issues that nobody wants to admit that go on. You know, um, I can't. I can't get people to understand. Like it wouldn't take much to really change shit here. and I'm nobody. Like I don't have education, I don't have money, I don't have anything like that. But it doesn't take much for us to really look around and get shit done.
Yeah.
Um, and we have the resources. You know, we have the only time I've gone to jail was right before my 40s. I had to do like 60 days, and I wrote a this little paper on how you could fix shit, how you could start to fix shit, and I had to take these anger management classes while I was in there. So I gave it to the little dude, and I let him read it. He took it for a few days, and he came back and he gave it back to me. He was like, it's not possible, whatever, blah blah blah. So the paper basically has a lot to do with like you gotta teach these kids that they're loved. Like you gotta start early, and you can indoctrinate them if you want to say it that way, with understanding that they're loved, not that they can do whatever they want to do, not that oh your choice is your choice, but that somebody cares about you. And I feel like kids should feel like I should I like we take these emotions away from children. Like I feel kids should understand that they disappointed somebody. Do you know what I mean? Does that make
Mm,
sense to you?
yeah.
Like I feel like at times you have to feel like, hey, if I did this, this would disappoint this person that really gives a fuck about me. And I don't think children have enough of that. So I wrote in this paper about a school, and I mentioned LeBron James. I mentioned the man. And I mentioned a couple other people. And I pointed out how much money it would take to just create a school and maintain a school. And I pointed out how you could offer services at your school that you're paying for yourself, like parents can't work because of childcare, whatever. Okay, so what if I let you drop your kid off at 6 in the morning and let you pick your kid up at 6 at night? All right. Say if I had that available to you, and you would have a lotto for it. You start off small, like 300, 400 kids, right?
Yeah.
Um, you give them the resources that they need, the basic shit, shoes, school bags, bikes, books, whatever they need. You give them the immediate needs. I put in there talking about open up bank accounts, teaching financial literacy, like starting. But my thing was I wanted to start from kindergarten. I wanted the first class to come in and just kindergartners, all right.
Yeah.
And then the next year you have those same kindergarten go to first, and then you have a new set of kindergarten, and over until we have our first graduating class. And I feel that with 300 kids raised right, still living at home though, still in these hoods that they live in, but able to make the decisions knowing like, hey, this is what's up. And a lot of people get passes when they play sports, so they go to a better school. And a lot of these people have family members that do care about them. They have family members that are doing bullshit. If if you introduce these kids to other kids that want to do the right thing, uh, maybe, it's hard. I have this little thought about voice of reason. If you have like five people and you have one voice of reason that can beat the shit out of the other four, they'll listen, you know. But if you
Yeah.
have one voice of reason and the other four people don't respect that voice of reason, it can fuck them up. But if you have two voices of reason that might give them a fight, even if they won't win, most people won't put up a fight. If they think they can win, if it's going to be a long fight, they don't want to do it. So those two voices of reason will win out over the other three. You know what I mean? Um, I feel that goes into life. So if I have 300 kids that are in kindergarten being taught many, many things about themselves as a person, being taught that they matter, that they don't have to do shit in this manner, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They might get into fights with their cousins the first year. The second year, their parents gonna want you to go to this school. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be that type of shit. And maybe sometimes you do throw in a couple legacy spots, lottery spots. Oh, you want a cousin or somebody that wants to get in? Yes, let's do that. You know, um, but I just feel. And then when I got out of jail, like the next year, LeBron had a school, by the way, and that was weird to me. Um, that was very weird to me. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know. It's a game to everybody. Where we look around and we don't really believe in anything, but we want to believe in things. Like the flat Earth people, they're cool, but what about these other conspiracies that you don't want to think about or even give any thought to? Like it's hard for me to say that there's flat Earth, right? You want to say the moon landing was fake long ago? That's fine. I believe now that space travel is real. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah,
want to say it didn't happen then, it's definitely fucking happening now. All right, let's have that. Cool, but I don't know. Like crack cocaine, and the black neighborhoods and guns in the black neighborhoods was once a conspiracy, right?
yeah.
That was this nigga crazy. He trying to point out why his people can't do this and that. And you got years of niggas telling people what's going on in their neighborhood, being told they crazy. And now you got Snowfall. Have you ever watched Snowfall?
I haven't, no.
You should watch Snowfall because Snowfall is basically what happened in South Los Angeles with the cocaine.
Wow.
And it starts off with a young man. He comes back from his first year of college or some shit, blah, blah, blah. And he go hang around and he comes across a brick of cocaine and he becomes the man. And he finds a government guy that's trying to finance a war with in what is it with the Contras, and he gives this man cocaine. He gives this man millions of pounds of cocaine, and
Mm.
it's a 5 season show, maybe six. I think it's five.
Yeah, an old friend of mine was one of the producers. We used to be managers together, and I never saw the show. I thought it was just about a drug dealer. I didn't know it was about the government angle.
No, that's real. But
That's
that's the
cool.
thing. They had a
I'll
guy in
never
South
watched it.
LA. I'm not gonna say that man's name because I've seen him before, and I don't
Oh,
know how you're supposed to. I don't. Well, yeah, he's a guy. His name is Rick Ross. He used to move cocaine for the government. And I'm pretty sure that that movie that shows about his fucking life with very different a bunch of changes, but like these things are real. And for 20, 30 years, y'all telling people this shit ain't real, and now it's just entertainment for people. You know, and
yeah.
there's still nothing being done about it. Um, did you what's the guy? Barry Seal? Do you know who that is?
Was he the pilot guy?
I think so. And then he was letting people know what was going on. Yeah.
Did
And
they,
he
is
the one
that
that
that Tom Cruise movie? Did you see American Made?
yeah, I think there's another one as well, with the other guy. There's somebody else that plays him as well. But yeah, this the young man that got shot in the head, shot himself in the head twice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like those things happen. Below that
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
all of these things are entertainment, but we don't look at what is actually done to a whole generation too of people. And I don't think like the war on drugs doesn't. You're worried about going to jail for weed, but it's highly unlikely unless you run into a cop that just doesn't like you that you're gonna go to jail for weed ever, right? Especially nowadays, right now, you know. If you're in Texas, maybe.
Yeah, I would never go to Texas.
Yeah, if you're in Texas, there's a good chance possibly, but everywhere else you're probably safe, you know. But that's still a weapon, you know. It's still a way to fuck with people. When I was younger, I didn't think I still to this day I don't think I've seen as many black people do drugs as I've seen white and other people. Like, and I know some black people that do drugs, but the amount of people that I've seen do drugs and have asked me about drugs and been dealing with drugs is majority not blacks, and that's crazy to me. Know a lot of black people that sell weed, you know. Um,
Yeah.
when I was young, I worked at this place called Rouse's Supermarkets in Houma, Louisiana. They're big now. They're doing good things. I was getting buggies, and they had this Cadillac pull up, and it had Mississippi plates, and it was these two white women, and I'm a 16-year-old kid, and I'm kind of chunky. I got my uniform on, I got my tag on. I'm getting these buggies, and they get out the car, and I see them. I look at them. I go back inside. I get put some more buggies, and I come back out, and they approach me, and they're like, "Hey," I'm like, "How you doing?" And they're like, "Yeah, like, do you know where we could get some cheese?" And I'm like, "I don't know what cheese is, man. I'm not sure what that is." She's like, "Oh, do you know where we get some drugs?" And I was like, "What is cheese?" She's like, "Oh, that's meth." And I was like, okay. I don't know where I could get that at." And she's like, "Well, can you tell me where the nearest hood is?" And I'm like, "Yo," and in my head, I'm like, is this real? Like I'm confused on what I'm supposed to say here. So I was like, well, I was like, this is Village East. This is a hood, I guess you could say. They call it the hood here. And then I was like, well, you go across the bridge and you make a right and you run into the street called East Street. You know, that's the hood. And then if you get into that neighborhood before you get to East Street, that's the circle. I'm pretty sure that's the hood. And then you can go across the tunnel and go by Deweyville. I think that's the hood. Like, I don't know how to help you though. Like, I'm confused. You can just drive around if you want. Yes, you can get some help. Somebody will serve you.
Yeah,
But that's how simple it is for some. You know what I mean? That situation right there has gotten a lot of people some dope.
yeah.
It's also got a lot of people put in jail. But I feel we don't look at the conspiracies that are in front of us enough. And
That's very true.
yeah, and they just get pushed to the side. And I feel it's only because, like, and I'm black, I'm from the South. Uh, I was raised by conservative black people my whole life. And when I say that, they weren't Republicans, um, but the way that some Republicans think, I might think. You know what I mean? I might agree, but my whole thing is I can't just agree because y'all niggas are ignoring everything. Like
Yeah,
I'm not gonna, and that's not me. Like I can't ride with somebody just because they're on my side. And we live in a world where a motherfucker is on your side through this bullshit that you do, even though they know you're wrong. That's how everybody stays friends and stays cool. People got secrets on each other. Oh, that's my friend. They ain't never gonna tell my secret. That's why I rock with them. That's fear. That's fear of you not getting the help you want one day.
yeah,
So you ride with them and you do everything that they want to do because you want them to do the same for you. And I don't think that's a healthy way for us to live. And I understand I don't have friends. I don't got people. I was once really popular, I guess you could say. I made good money. I made, what was that, 1350 a week when I was
wow.
19, 20 years old. You know, I did good work. I wasted my money on alcohol and weed like a good young man was supposed to. Um, I watched friends graduate from college. I watched people pass on. I lived a enjoyable life as a youth. I was once entertained by the bullshit, and life passed me by, and no longer wanting the bullshit leaves you in a pickle, you know,
Yeah.
and leaves you questioning what the point of shit is. And I feel nobody actually wants to question the point. They just want to continue going. And I don't know. I don't think it's sustainable, sir. That's all. I don't think us looking around and picking and choosing what to pay attention to is going to be okay. Like, I don't think us tiptoeing around subjects because we don't want to lose voters is okay. I don't think us just watching and recording horrible shit is going to be okay. Like, we can't continue in this manner. And if we do, we're not going to care about each other. And we all need someone. Everybody needs someone to watch their back sometimes. I feel, I don't know. Do you date?
Yeah. I mean, now I've been poor. So I haven't in a while. Um, but yeah, yeah, I
So,
try, I guess.
but hold on, sir. Why should you being poor matter to if you were dating?
I don't know. I mean, I just, like I work Uber Eats and then I'm normally now I'm getting older. I'm come home and I'm just so tired. I just will sleep and then just get up and go back to work. It's just pretty much all I do now. And I can't even imagine. Yeah, I don't even know.
Do
I
you
can't
okay?
even.
So the dating world to you is, do you have apps? Do you participate in all that, or do you try to meet people in real life?
I don't. I tried it a little bit. I'd liked a girl for a long time, and then she wasn't into me, so then I just was like heartbroken. And then I tried to sign up for some of the apps, and I just didn't follow through really. Like you meet someone, you're like, hello, blah blah. I don't know, it felt kind of forced. And then yeah, I'm like, I live in a tiny room doing Uber Eats on my motorcycle. I just think I'm the uh yeah, I'm probably not the most financially what a girl's looking for.
Okay, okay. Well, look. I just feel, and I'm gonna say this, and once again, I'm gonna look like I'm a horrible person. The the dating app world is tailor made for women. It creates success for them at every time. Anytime they want success, is success for them, and that means that they can pick and choose. They don't have to. You can look at messages and choose. Oh, let me look. Oh, I like how you look. I like what you do. Okay, boom, bam, and you just move on. That's not okay in the real
Yeah,
world.
I can't imagine a girl looking at my profile page and being like, this guy's a catch. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not deformed, but I'm like, I live on minimum wage.
nigga, I feel that way. I'm a 6'8" black man.
And
I have been having a Facebook dating profile for whenever they offered it. I signed up for that, but long ago I had a Tinder just to have like something to do. And when I tell you that I've never had a positive interaction, I've never had a positive interaction. And I
yeah, I
don't
can't
know,
do Tinder. Tinder is too like too fast moving, I think for
bruh, what do they want? For one thing, I've had to argue that I'm 6'8" way too many times. Like
it.
there's no reason that I should get in an argument with you about my height. Like
Well, if
there's
you live near Pasadena, I'm going to be playing a show this Wednesday for Patty.
you going to
And
Patty?
yeah, and I have a whole bit on this about short people trying to uh do the dating thing online. Yeah, I have a whole. I'm gonna do my yeah. You should come.
I might try to do that because I think I might be available on. I've usually been on only out there on Thursdays, but I might be available on a Wednesday just because of spring break.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I don't,
go. Yeah,
I don't know, sir. I just don't. We're in a world where I I think I don't have talents. I don't have skills. I'm
yeah. I
honest.
got nothing. I'm like, if I was a girl and saw me, I would be like hard pass. Like, I'm not trying to bag myself, but I'm not like Brad Pitt. Like you were saying,
Yeah,
girls have every guy in the world is like always coming to them. They don't really have to do a lot.
but only because it's online. Oh, that's the only reason, sir. It's not real
Yeah,
life.
I think in real life too, though. Like if I go to a bar versus like a hot girl going to a bar, I'll
No, but
probably sit in the corner
okay.
by myself.
That that's okay. So if you go out as a man and you have beverages and you talk and you're around people as a dude, if you're having drinks around people, the majority of the time there's going to be women that find you attractive after beverages. That's a horrible thing to say,
Yeah,
but
no, totally. Yeah,
I
everyone's.
know that because I'm 6'8" and I've had women that don't like me after they have a drink or two come tell me weird fucking shit, and I'm like, yo, bitch, you were just mean to me a second ago. I have feelings. Like this doesn't
People tell me I'm adorable all the time, and that's not what you want to hear when you're in your late 40s. I get a
nigga,
lots of.
I've heard that. I've heard that, and that shit is kind of rude to me. I'm like, what do you mean? What kind of adorable am I? Like, you find me what is it? What unassumingly safe? Like, what am I? I don't know. So, but yeah, but then it's also I'm 6'8", so if it's not. I'm adorable. This nigga is abominable. Like, look at this nigga. We scared of him. Like, he's huge. So you don't get that. Like, I feel you can say and do whatever you want with yourself. Me, I can't have feelings. I can't have emotions. I can't have factual, like, examples of me being uncomfortable because somehow I'm not supposed to be uncomfortable. I'm above somebody attacking me in real life. Like, if I tell somebody's done something to me, oh, that's not possible. Who? What kind of person would do that? Exactly, bitch. That's what I'm saying. Like what kind of psycho will attack me? That's my fucking point exactly. But it just I'm a giant, sir. Like you would not
You don't
like
seem 6'8". You carry it well. You don't seem because I'm like 2'8", and
you would not like this. I'm sure you
I
might,
would not want to be tall. I do love being short. I like skateboarding and having a low center of gravity.
sir. I used to skateboard, and that's why my life is weird. I was a weirdo. Do you remember?
Tony
Uh,
Hawk's tall.
yeah, I haven't seen him, but I've heard that. They used to have a thrashing magazine, and
Yeah,
and they
Thrasher. Yeah,
they used to have this. It was on. I want to say it was on Nickelodeon or MTV. There was a skater show with a little chunky fat man, and I can't remember the name of the show. But when I lived out here when I was a kid, I used to see those people in the place I used to live, and I'm pretty sure one time the young man stuffed grass in my mouth because I was looking at his apartment. But I don't I used to like skating. I used to enjoy lots of things that I wasn't supposed to. Like I used to
Mhm.
rollerblade. I used to skate. I used to want to be a dirt bike rider. I wanted to be a motocross rider. Like Mike
Nice.
Kujawski was my guy. Like
Yeah.
that was my dude. When he got in that wreck and bit off his tongue, I was watching that shit. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I enjoyed that shit. I used to have a dyno comp. I wanted to do the little BMX races. I was a weird kid. I went to fence. That was something that I really wanted to do.
I
That
tried
that
fencing in college. It was so hard. I was so bad at it.
oh,
It's
but
not
was
as
it
fun as it
enjoyable?
looks. It's terrible.
What do you mean it's not as fun as it looks,
You have to
sir?
like stand an exact way, and then if like you move your arm, they're like, you're out, foul. Like it's all I went to Portland State my first 2 years of college, and they would always have like 1 credit PE classes. And so I tried like all these different, they had like scuba diving, like every term I would try something random. And I tried fencing, and it's so boring. It's like you just have to stand in this weird, super convoluted way, like your hand that doesn't hold the sword has to be like above your head. And
Uh-huh.
then you hold
Uh-huh.
the other thing, and you're just like, move with your elbow, move with your wrist. Like it's not like lightsabers. It's
No, it's actually parry and thrusting and
yes,
dropping
that's
back.
they would say
Yes,
constantly. I couldn't
yes.
deal.
Sir, do you understand the length I have? I was a
Yeah, you'd
Zorro
be
fan.
good.
I watched Zorro and Ren 10. I was a Family Channel guy. Like Zorro, Ren
Yeah,
10. Yeah. Scarecrow and Mrs. King. That was my shit.
yeah, that was a great show. I forgot about that.
My life, if I wasn't a black man and I wasn't nice, I'd be a police officer. Just because, and that's horrible, but I can't because I don't like the shit that goes on. Like in Houma, Louisiana, where I live, my resource officer in high school became the police chief, and I think it was cool as shit. Like I understand, but
I would be a cop if they didn't have the P test, if it was
mm,
more
not
aliens
even
like
not
UFOs.
even that, sir. I'd smoke on my good times. As long as you don't shoot nobody, you cool. I go through everything not
Yeah,
to shoot a motherfucker. As long as you don't use your
yeah,
gun, you're all right.
yeah. I don't like violence, so I don't know if my dad was NYPD, but
Seriously,
yeah, he was retired when I was born, but he was robbery homicide for a long time.
that's crazy.
Yeah, he had crazy. He was like in his 60s when I was born.
That's what I was about to say. If he retired, that means he had you when he was old.
Yeah, he was 61 when I was born. And he had done politics and all that stuff in New York. And yeah, I wanted to like do the cop thing. I guess it's like most kids, but it wasn't. I thought it was more like lasers and yeah, flying saucers.
No, you got to deal with actual people, and I love dealing with people, but I don't want to put nobody in jail that I know, first off, because I
Yeah,
know I know everybody can go to jail. You know what I mean?
yeah,
No, if
yeah.
if you want to go outside today and pick and choose people that's doing shit. If you follow everybody enough, somebody can be arrested. Like the majority of the world can be
Oh,
arrested.
my first open mic here, I drove home from, and I got pulled over, and they thought I was someone else. They didn't tell me till later, but they put guns in my head, laid me down on the street, police helicopters, like 40 cops came,
In
had me
LA,
surrounded. Yeah, it was
a
on
waste
Venice
of fucking
Boulevard.
resources for you, correct?
Yeah, oh yeah, so many people there. Two
Yeah,
captains came down, and
yeah.
then they were like, "This isn't him," and I was like, "Who do you think I am?" They're like, "We can't tell you." I was like, "Okay, let me go."
So that means that they got somebody out there doing some bullshit that they ain't letting the public know about, but they think they need 40 fucking people and a fucking police helicopter to help.
Yeah, they acted like I was Osama bin Laden. It was crazy. I was like, who, what did this person do? Like it was literally helicopter above me. And then I could literally, I will never forget it, hear one of the guys with the guns pointed at me being like, what if he moves? Can I take the shot? Like he really wanted to shoot me. Like if
Yeah,
he moves, can I take the shot? And I could hear someone else being like, no.
yeah.
I
This
was
is
like,
what I'm
that's
saying.
crazy.
These people aren't they aren't equipped to have this job that they have, sir. They're not equipped to do the things that they do. And I don't think people home Louisiana, like I said, is a small place. They only had one, two, three, four high schools. I think they have five now. Uh, and everybody, you can find everybody you know through somebody. And I had a cop that went to high school with me. His name was Thomas Rhodes. And the first time I saw him in a cop car, I had just smoked a blunt. I was walking down the driveway on the Dixie right off of East Street, and the cop car's up the street just chilling. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand why the cop car's back here. And it just drives towards me. I have a cupcake in my hand. I forgot whose birthday it was. I had a cupcake. I was thinking about my cupcake. The shit looked good. And this nigga pulls up and stops. And I lean. I'm like, oh, fuck. What's up, Thomas? He's like, hey, what's going on? I start talking to him. I lean into the window. And this nigga reached out and just took my cupcake and looked me in my face and ate that shit, pushed the frosting in his mouth, the whole cupcake in his mouth, and chewed it,
Oh,
and then went make the U-turn at the dead end and just looked at me and continued talking to me after he swallowed my fucking cupcake. And
whoa.
I thought that was fucking rude. And then the second interaction with them was they raided the pool hall uptowns one night, and they it was right when they about to close, and they lock everybody in, and then you have to go out and get searched, and they take you by your name and all that. This nigga walked up to me and my friend and ran his name and to see if he had any warrants. And I'm like, I don't understand how if you waiting, let us wait in line. Why are you walking up knowing people's names that you already know, like that you went to
Yeah,
school with? Like I'm confused how that's okay. And then they ended up not because they had a shooting, so they had to let everybody go and they had to go respond somewhere else. The third time I interacted with this bitch, my friend's brother died. He had a medical emergency. He wasn't feeling good on his way to work. They brought him home. He came home. He started feeling worse, and my friend ran across the street to this doctor's office and asked for help. And a lady came, and doctor's office is right there. Then right behind the doctor's office is an ambulance station, and ambulance didn't come. The lady from the doctor's office walked over and said, "Oh, he's dead." Didn't touch him, just looked at him, said he's dead, and walked out.
hmm,
And that was the end of my friend's situation with his brother. And I felt a type of way because I felt he should have got some sort of help because help was so
yeah.
close. And about a month and a half after that, 2 months after that, I'm returning with my friend to his house, and he's locked himself out. And I'm like, okay, I'm tall, I can push you through the window. And it had been raining and everything. I was like, all right, it's all muddy by the window. I pushed him through the window. He opens the door. We go inside. We start cleaning up the mud from our shoes. We mopping that shit up, and we smoke weed. There's roaches everywhere. We got a good little bit sitting somewhere else, and all of a sudden, I look up and I'm like, bro, you laid the door open? He's like, no, I didn't leave the door open. And then I saw a gun come across the threshold, and I just saw the barrel. And I was like right next to a refrigerator. And I was like, I'm about to hit this dude with a fucking refrigerator. I'm confused on what's going on here. And I was about to push, and I saw the badge, and I was like, okay. And this fucker walked in the little kitchen area and put a fucking gun in my face and told me get on the ground and all this other shit. I'm like, bitch, you know exactly who the fuck I am. Why are you treating me like this? You know, and he's just talking
Yeah.
shit to me. He's like, get on the ground, get on the ground, da, da, da. And I'm talking and I'm like, man, Thomas, get the fucking gun out of my face. And I get on the ground, and as soon as I get on the ground, the other dude walks in. He's like, "Fuck, that was the problem." We get up, we stand up. He's like, "He lives here," and I'm like, "Yes, he does live here." He was like, "I responded to his brother. His brother died a few days ago." La la la. And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Why are y'all here?" And they go, "We got a call about a robbery." From who? The people across the street. And my friend was like, "The doctor's office that didn't want to help my brother. They called the police right
Mhm.
now for us." And it just wasn't a good feeling. But
Yeah.
that's what sticks with me about him as a police officer. And that's the type of, I don't know, like I can't deal with that. And I don't think people should have to deal with police officers that just want to do shit just because it's protocol. Because just because it's protocol, you don't do that shit when it's other people. Like
Yeah.
how you got laid down in the street and handcuffed and all that shit. And drive through South LA and watch when they pull over black people.
Yeah.
The
You know, if
majority
I
of
wasn't white, I'm sure they just would have killed me. It was pretty.
I don't know who the fuck they were looking for to respond like
Yeah,
that, but
they were intense. They were like, it was crazy. They had me at one point like leaned out, like pushed onto the front of the cop car with my hands cuffed behind my back, and then some lady cop came like to try to ID me. She like looked at me. She's like, "This isn't him." I'm like, "Who do you think?"
they're
It
stupid,
was
sir.
so many. I've never seen that many people in anything in my life. Yeah, the whole place was. Yeah, cops now. I can't believe the racism. Like I'm a white guy, so it's people pretty much just leave me alone. Um, but it's so racist. Yeah, I can't even imagine.
I had a South African cop come to my door. I had a situation recently where a young lady that I was friends with, her husband came to my house with two guns to kill me, and he was at my house for 5 hours. And she asked me to leave him alone, so I just stayed in my house listening to this man bang on my windows and my door and everything and talk shit. And I'm like, okay, call the police then, and send him over here and tell him what's up because I don't want to call the police. You know, I don't deal with them like that. And the last time I called the police, they came and assaulted me, and I haven't worked since that day. And now I'm facing 3 years in jail. So I told her I don't call the police. And they came. The first time they came, he had left like it was in his fourth hour. He had left like maybe 2 minutes before they got there. They had to walk by him, and they talked to me stupid. They told me they didn't like my attitude. And they told me come outside so they can deal with my attitude. And I'm like, I don't understand how that's okay.
Yeah,
Like I'm really confused on how y'all can come over here and try to have problems with me when y'all over here you're supposed to be responding and doing something. You want me to answer questions and talk to you in a certain tone, like a person's been in my door for 4 hours and I can't do nothing to them. And if I do, y'all gonna blame me. And now you still trying to arrest me. So they leave. Dude comes back. He went drop his guns off in his friend's car or his family member's car, and he comes back, banging on my door some more. And the cops come back, and they have to tackle him and arrest him. All right. They go find the vehicle, they find the guns, all this other stuff. He done sent messages saying, I gotta leave my house sometime and I'm gonna get mine. He gonna kill me and all this shit, right? They already have all this shit. They call me the next day, a detective that I had spoke to before when she was trying to put me in jail, and she started the conversation. Yes, have you heard anything else from uh what was it? Something's husband. And I was like, you mean the perpetrator of this crime? You mean the person that was at my home with guns trespassing for 5 hours? And they had no intent on prosecuting this man. They let this nigga go. Like he was trying to be a cop for like a whole bunch of time and he was never able to get on with the cop shit. They asked him a pedophilia question and he failed it, his lie detector test.
um,
And then they asked him some more pedophilia questions and he failed them. And then he broke down in his lie detector meeting and told these cops all this shit. And they made him sign an affidavit saying that he's not going to apply to any more police departments and all this other stuff. And they knew this about this man. They still didn't want to prosecute him. You've been at my door for 5 hours with guns, sir. Talking about you going to kill me.
That's
and
terrible.
they didn't do anything. So the last round of cops that came after he got arrested, one was a South African. He sounded just like niggas from fucking Lethal Weapon 2, right?
Yeah.
He started talking, and I was like, "Are you South African?" He's like, "Yeah, I am." And I'm like, "Okay." And then so out of all those officers, I had two Latinos, a South African, and an Asian. The two Latinos and the Asian were extremely aggressive. The South African was cool, but you could see that he didn't give a fuck. He's like, "Yeah, he's gonna do some time for this, my friend. He can't do things like this. No, not to you. No, no, no." And they let him out of jail the next day. They didn't call me for court. They declined to press charges. And he went about his life. He actually got divorced from his wife, and she gave him $80,000.
Wow.
Yes. Uh, Me, on the other hand, I once had charges picked up in LA County. 8 months later, I filed a complaint, and my complaint went through on child court one day, and miraculously, the DA of Los Angeles decided to pick up my charges the next day. Um, and now I'm going through some shit that I can't get any help with. Um, my lawyer has assaulted me, poked me in my chest, yelled at me to the point of a bailiff coming out, and the bailiff laughed.
Mm.
And when I asked Marsden, my lawyer, to get a new lawyer, the judge said, my lawyer's human and he loses his temper, and that's fine sometimes. And I was like, well, ask your bailiff. He assaulted me. She said, don't you talk to me about my bailiff. Don't you ever ask me something. But I'm like, it's easy to prove that this lawyer is not a lawyer for me. And, she ignored it. And the last time I had to plea out to something, I got to do anger management, paid him $3,900, which I don't have because I haven't worked since the night the shit happened. Um, I asked him to withdraw the plea deal. He said, yeah, okay. Called me and told me he filed it. And I was like, you filed it? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, so what's going to happen? He said, the clerk said that the judge isn't going to take it. I was like, so you didn't file it? He's like, well, I talked to the judge's clerk. And I was like, that's not filing a withdrawal of the plea. He's like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm like, that's not legal. And he's like, oh, well. So if I was white or gay, all I got to do is get three people to hear and listen and understand what I'm going through. And then be like, he has a family. He takes care of his dog. He even cooks his dog her own dog food. He brings his kids to school. He feeds them every meal. Look at him. He's a model citizen. Why does he have to be attacked at his job and then have a finger inserted into his rectum by the police officers that he asked to call, that he called to come help him? And now you're trying to give him 3 years in jail? Oh my God, this is, what is, I can't believe this. We need to help this man. But I'm a 6'8" black man, and I like vagina, and I believe that people need to be a little bit better than they are. And, you know,
I'm
and it's,
sorry, man.
no, it's okay. It's something that I'm dealing. That's actually why I did comedy, because I was going through all this shit and I didn't know how to let it out or let people understand how I feel. And I went try it, and it was enjoyable. I don't. I'm more of a dad now, so I don't have enough time to get out there and hit as many shows as I would like. Or, you also gotta be sociable with these people.
Yeah.
And I feel that I'm a little too tall to deal with people. Like everything that I say either comes off as aggression or sexual. You know, um, I'm not. I don't know. I just don't fit with folks, man, and it's hard for me to get out there. But I like trying. It's enjoyable, you
Yeah.
know.
If I had money, I'd go live in the mountains as a hermit. I'm ready. I'm at that point in my
Oh,
life.
oh, sir, I garden. Like I right now I have peppers. I have a tomato plant that I just cut. I cut it back some and took the last little 8 tomatoes. Rosemary, my basil died. I got a lemon tree that's I've been having. I started in a 7-Eleven cup like 5 years ago.
Nice.
Uh, I got a blackberry bush. I got chocolate mint, strawberry mint, regular mint, hot and spicy oregano. Uh, I think I have a squash going, a butternut squash, a pumpkin, like 20 watermelon seedlings that I'm gonna have to cull and figure out what I'm gonna keep. Oh, I have potatoes going. I recently had my first little harvest of potatoes,
Nice.
and that's cool as fuck. The potatoes are awesome because all you do is wait for the plant to die, and then you just dig them up, or empty the bucket. Mine was a small little thing, so I was able to dump them out, and I got like maybe 8, 9 potatoes, and they were delicious. You know, um, I would love to be a hermit, sir. I love guns. I love weapons, slingshots, bow and arrows. I like making traps. I like to fish. I like to cook. You know what I mean? I enjoy waking up and looking and seeing the sun. I enjoy being out. I love animals. Uh, I don't know. I wanted to be a vet when I was younger. You know, um,
Well, that's cool.
I feel the hermit shit is the way. Like I would love to have a fucking rainwater collector, like solar, maybe batteries, either underground or in the back of the house, wherever the fuck I had them, batteries and solar, have an actual generator that could store the shit. Um, just a life. If I could find somewhere they don't have that many natural disasters out here. Earthquakes are really the only thing that you got to worry about. Maybe a tsunami one day, but if I could live in a forest that I knew wasn't gonna burn down or I wasn't gonna freeze to death, yeah, bro, that is that's what I want to do. You know, I want to have a restaurant just so I can afford to do that.
That's
So,
awesome.
but yeah, that's what's up, sir. I don't know how to explain it.
Well,
I
speaking of money, I have to go here in a little bit because I have to go to work. I gotta go to Uber Eats.
Oh, you're good, sir. I
It's gonna
appreciate you
be
for your time.
terrible. Oh
I
yeah, of course. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to go to work today. I don't want
I
to do
would
it.
tell you about the I was gonna kept trying to get you on the choices of pedophilia, and that sounds horrible. Um, and that right there alone sounds bad, but we're gonna get to the point. We're gonna get to the point in life, and I was trying to figure out a way to phrase this to make a joke about it. Like, you think they got some Jeffrey Epstein victims that are upset that y'all stopped they hustle? Like, do you you got like some 12, 13 years old out there mad that y'all they can't suck no dick no more for money? Like we come, we're gonna come to the point where we're gonna care about. Oh, you fucked up my money. I was gonna get this. I was gonna get that. I was gonna do this. I was gonna pay for my college, and look what y'all have done. And you're gonna be like, well, you know what? That's her choice. That is what she wants to do. But she's 12, Bob. Look, 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 look. She can get a dick. She can suck a dick. And I just feel I don't know how to find a way to put that in that manner. But that's what pedophilia is going to become one day. It's going to become a choice, and I don't like. I don't like. I don't like how that is. Also, disabled people shouldn't be fucking normal people. I don't. And I'm talking about mentally handicapped. I don't feel. Um. I don't think it's okay. That's all. Yeah, sir. So yeah, I'm sorry. One day I'll talk to you about that. I know it's inappropriate, but yeah,
That's awesome. Got new material for your stand up.
possibly. I've been working on it, but I don't know. It's kind of rude, so I got to figure out how to make it uh palatable. So
Well, Nick, thank you so much. I really appreciate this, man. This was really great. And my longest podcast to date. This was awesome.
I'm sorry, sir, for taking up all your
No, that's a
time.
good
I
thing. That's
appreciate
good. I
it.
feel like
I
a
appreciate
professional.
you having me here. I appreciate that a
Everyone
lot.
does like 12-hour podcasts. Now I feel like I'm hitting my
Hopefully,
stride.
let's compete. Let's get some views, and hopefully,